Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special Champions League edition of Making an Impact with Zebu Nation. This is for the 2020 Champions League, CONCACAF, North American, all of that, Champions League. I don't know if I can say Champions League more, but I'm going to try as many times as I can anyway. Champions League, we have our first game in said competition that I have mentioned already like 7 times, but here it is. The North American Champions League. Got a couple of big-time wins already. Cruz Azul and Pachuca, 2 of the best teams in the competition, have sort of smashed their lesser competitions. But, I don't think we have to worry about too many of these teams right away. We'll get into them. Maybe next round we'll start looking more into the teams because that's when it's going to be a smaller field and there'll be more, contenders in the field. Because right now you're pretty sure who's going to move on and who's not going to move on. The one exception, I feel, is our matchup with the Columbus Crew. That's the one matchup where it's sort of equal teams, very equal teams. We squared off last season in the Eastern Conference, in the playoffs, in the regular season. It was a very tight affair between Columbus and Montreal. I mean, they were very good in the regular season. We were very good in the postseason. And it should be entertaining, hopefully a victorious, but definitely entertaining campaign against the Columbus Crew in this stage. So we've got in the competition 4 Mexican teams, 4 American teams, Houston, LA, Columbus, Philadelphia. Yeah, 4 American teams, 1 Canadian team. It's interesting. I thought there would only be 3 American teams, but anyway, 4, I guess the more the merrier. And then we got a team from Guatemala, Belize, Honduras. Saprissa is from Costa Rica. That's right. They're the one team. They could possibly surprise the Houston Dynamo. I don't know. You got America from Haiti. They probably won't give too much problem to Tigres. So I think we're going to look in the next round. There'll probably be 3 Mexican teams. No, 4 Mexican teams and 4 American teams in the next round. I'm sorry, but that's probably what it's going to be unless somebody can pull an upset. Olympia is a pretty good team from Honduras, but they're going up against Leon, so I don't know. It's going to be rough for them. But anyway, we're going to look at our own team today. And, of course, we're going to go with the 4-2-4. We're not going to mess around with any other formation. This formation has been crushing it for us. At least it crushed it for us in the playoffs last year. We'll see if it can continue its mojo. Maybe it's just a playoff formation. I don't know. Maybe it's not a regular season type formation. Maybe we have to go with something a little bit more steady and more reliable in the regular season, because that's what you got to be in the regular season. You got to be a stable, steady team. We got a lot of players up on their contracts this season, so it's a big season for everybody involved. There's a lot of people who are going to want to see their contracts extended, and a lot of people who we are going to want to extend their contracts. So it's got to be a good balance of, signing guys when they want to stay here so that we don't have to pay them too much and so that they'll actually re-sign. But we'll get to that work shortly. Contract guarantee is in 1 week. We don't have anybody that we need to cut from the roster, so that's good. Fitness tests. We got a little bit of trouble with our fitness tests. Most people are match fit, but we do have some guys. Victor Cabrera is not really healthy. Mike Wynn is not really healthy. Gilio is mostly healthy, but, recovering from a thigh injury. So we got a lot of guys with little nicks and bruises and things like that, but nobody with any major injuries. So let's get to our match preview versus the Columbus Crew. And, let's see what the Crew has been up to this season. So last season, they finished 4th in the Supporters' Shield, 1st in the Eastern Conference. So they had a very good season. And let's take a look at what they've done transfer-wise. Who did they bring in? They made a lot of moves. They brought up 3 players from the Crew Academy. That's pretty good. They picked up one guy, Rolf Flescher, from Sporting Kansas City. Venezuelan 29-year-old defensive fullback. He looks pretty good. I don't know why Sporting KC would let him go. Maybe it was money issues or contract issues or something. He's making $200,000. That's not a lot, honestly. So, good move by Columbus, shoring up their defense. Brought in some academy players. Picked up Chad Marshall on a free, 35-year-old central defender. So it looks like Columbus was really focused on their defense. He's, he's a big, strong guy on the back line, but 4 pace just isn't going to do it. So I don't know about that. But anyway, they had a pretty good draft. They picked up 2 guys from the U.S. Developmental Academy. Usually that's where the Generation Adidas players come from. It's from the Developmental Academy. So there's a lot of good players at the academy. Midfield, center midfield, I guess. Dan Anderson, he looks pretty good. 17 teamwork, 15 passing, he's pretty good. Adam Chandler, attacking midfield. So they worked on their midfield via the draft. A couple of more draftees, a lot of draftees, and then they picked up one guy, Chikna Wagwe from Mali, 26 years old. Another midfielder. So they've really been focusing on that midfield. Did they make any trades? They bring in anybody spectacular here. They got Orlando City's 2nd-round pick. They traded away Alan Metcalf, Sheenan Williams. They traded away Philadelphia's 1st-round draft pick in 2020. Traded away Ethan White for a lot of draft picks. So that's where they got all these draft picks from, trading away a few players. So an interesting offseason for Columbus. Not any spectacular moves, no splashy transfer moves, but that's kind of what you expect from Columbus. They are financially a little bit reserved of a team. So let's see, what do they got on their squad? Looks like they prefer a 4-1-4-1. Got John Kempen in goal. He's a fine goalkeeper. Jimenez at the right fullback. He's 31 years old now. 10 pace. He's fallen. So they got an old team. Filipovic, 31. Also failing a little bit physically, but still okay. 29 years old, Jonathan Mensah. 34 years old, Chris Tierney. So that is an old back line, I got to tell you. I mean, they're still okay. They're still pretty good. But, man, they are old. We're going to be able to outpace those guys, no problem. We got Artur, young defensive midfield to hopefully protect all those old guys in defense. Yao out on the left-hand side, 27-year-old American, looks okay. Zardes dropped him down to right winger, so he could play all over the place. He could play striker, he could play advanced winger. He can do all kinds of stuff, so you never know where he's going to go. Al-Badawi is a pretty good player, 28-year-old Kuwaiti. Very good dribbling. Yeah, he's still pretty good. Not physically a great team, though. Physically, well, here we go. Pablo Mathot, central midfielder. He's pretty good. He must be one of those young draftees they got, or did he come from their academy? He came from the Columbus Crew Academy. The way to go, Columbus. They're going to start an academy player. Good for them. And then they got Calvert up top, 23-year-old American. He's okay. Good physicals. Sort of a target man type guy. He's definitely a target man. So, Columbus is pretty much as they were. Strong defensive team, conservative team, but a very steady and consistent team. So let's get on to our team selection. Now let's check out our lineup. Now our lineup is interesting because if you watched the previous video, if you watched our preseason spectacular, Saw all the players we brought in, all the young talent that we've brought in. We've sort of rotated the roster quite a bit. But if you look at our starting lineup, we essentially have the exact same starting lineup that we had during the playoffs. So this is the lineup that won us the Cup championship. So with the 2 exceptions. But other than that, it is the same lineup. So, despite all the changes we made, we didn't break the chemistry of the starting 11, and hopefully that continues. Because as you can see here, we got chemistry at every position. Right? Our wings both have chemistry, very good chemistry here. They have a strong partnership in the midfield as well, central defense, and up top the strikers. Everybody has good, well-suited partnerships right now. So we don't want to break up this chemistry. So, of course, we got Lutweiler in goal. And we're going to look at these guys a little bit in depth because we haven't looked at them in a couple of seasons, honestly. Jason Lutweiler, he's 30 years old now. And for some reason, he has developed Swiss parentage here. He's Canadian, right? I mean, I'm not crazy. He is Canadian. Yes, he is Canadian. He is capped for Canada, but apparently he is also has some Swiss nationality to him. So that's interesting. He's eligible to play for Switzerland or Canada. That's interesting. Maybe because Canada never makes it to the World Cup, he's keeping his options open. But anyway, Lutweiler is still a good goalkeeper. I know 30 years old is young for a goalkeeper, but he's got nice technicals, 13s all over the place, aerial reach, first touch, handling, kicking, one-on-ones, and all of that is backed up by 16 reflexes and 18 tendency to punch. So he's a guy who can really smack the ball around and get out of a lot of jams with his reflexes. So he's a very good goalkeeper. Now the thing is, he is on a rotational contract. So if we find a better goalkeeper, we can bring him in without too much of a fuss. I'm sure Lutweiler will give some fuss, but he's on a rotational contract, so he can't give too much fuss. But anyway, it's harder than it sounds to find a better goalkeeper than Lutweiler because he's so good. Because he has those reflexes, and he's just steady and solid. So it would take a heck of a goalkeeper to come in and replace him. Speaking of replacements, we have on the right fullback, Carl Salmon. He has already been replaced. He just doesn't know it yet. Now, Salmon is also on a rotational contract. He's 23 years old. We got him via the Super Draft a couple seasons ago. He's worked his value up to $1 million, so that's really good. But as I said, he's on a rotational contract, and we've brought in Duverne, the big French right fullback, to come in and replace him. Because Salmon, as good as he is definitely backup material. He's not starting material because physically he's just sort of okay. Mentally he's pretty good. He's got positioning, he's got leadership, he's got determination, concentration, bravery, aggression. They're all pretty good. Same with his technicals. They're pretty good, but they're not necessarily, when you put them all together, a high-quality starter level. He's more of a low-quality starter level. He's borderline starter level. But we want somebody who's much better than that, and we have brought in Duverne to replace him. So he's going to be just a solid backup for us. And then on the left-hand side, we've got another Super Draft player, Lewis Taylor, left defender. He can play central defense, 24 years old now, also valued at $1 million. And what makes him different from Carl Salmon is his physicals. He's a beast physically. 6'3", 17 strength, 17 jumping reach, 14 acceleration. His one drawback is pace, only 10 pace, but he is a very, very much a defensive center back. He stays back, he stays in position. He's basically another central defender out there just playing left wing, or left fullback, I should say. He's a good leader. He's very determined. Other than that, his mentals are pretty average. His technicals are a little below average, honestly. Only 11 tackling, 11 marking, only 10 heading. So that's why I prefer to have him at fullback rather than central defense. But it is his physicals that really put him over the top and make him a starter. Then we've got Piet, defensive midfielder, 25-year-old Canadian, valued at $2 million. He's also on a rotational contract. So if we find a better player, we might replace him, and we might have already done that, because if you saw the last episode, you saw that we picked up, where'd he go? Junior Ramos, another one of our Brazilian youngsters, 21 years old. This is a guy who can play the box-to-box midfielder, allow Andre to slide back down into the Segundo Volante role, or vice versa. They could do it either way. I mean, the two of them are basically interchangeable. So we may have already replaced Piet, but for now, he's definitely holding down the starting position. Very good physically, other than jumping reach and his size. He's a little small at 5'7". Mentally, he's pretty good. Aggression, bravery, another very determined guy. Teamwork is good. Work rate, very good. Technically, he's just pretty good. Tackling, technique, passing, marking could be better. First touch could be better. But overall, he's a very, very solid contributor. And he is paired nicely with Andre, who's working the box-to-box, even though he's more naturally a Segundo Volante in the defensive midfielder role. But he's 22 years old now. We picked him up for chump change a couple of seasons ago, and he's now valued at $4.6 million. I think we bought him for like $100,000 or something like that. Let's take a look at his career history. We bought him for $250,000, so still a fraction of his current value. Andre. He's just very solid. He's got very few weaknesses. His physicals are nice. His technicals are pretty good. His mentals are pretty good. Just a lot of 13s, 11s, 12s all over the place. Just a good, solid player. Then on the wings, got Petrasso. With Vargas gone, we sold Vargas in the offseason. Petrasso is now going to step up and be the man. 24 years old, valued at $4.6 million also. So he's had a heck of an upgrade in his value. And he was our starter for most of the playoffs because Vargas was injured. So Petrasso has it in him to be a starter. He's got a first-team contract now until 2021. So he's gonna be one of our big contributors. He's not very big. He's only 5'6", 9 strength, 6 jumping reach. But he makes up for that with speed and agility. He's got some very nice mental attributes, flair and determination, vision and passing and technicals. So he can be a bit of a playmaker for us out on the wing. He's got dribbling. He likes to cut inside quite a bit as sort of an inside forward role. He doesn't really play inside forward, but he just naturally gets inside. So he's a guy who gives us some interesting abilities, some interesting versatility out on the wing. And then on the right-hand side, one of our changes from last season, Romero was here for most of the playoffs. Romero played on the right wing. But Mane has taken over this preseason because Romero's been hurt in the preseason. Romero's getting older. He's about 30 years old now, 29, 30. If he's not 30, he's about to turn 30. So Mane's come in, taken over, played very well. 25 years old, valued at $2.2 million. And he's a guy a couple of years ago, last year I guess, in the preseason, we overpaid for him. And he was definitely a splurge spend, a guy that I thought at the time we didn't need, but it turned out we did need him. We did need him a lot. We used him quite a bit last season. And he gives us something that nobody else in the entire league can give us, which is just raw speed. 18 pace, 18 acceleration. There's almost nobody in the league who can keep up with him in terms of speed. And he adds some flair to that, some work rate. His mentals and technicals aren't that great, but they're good enough. They're sort of minimum acceptable level. And he uses that speed to sort of give him another gear and another advantage. He also has some player traits which I like. He knocks the ball past opponents. He runs with the ball, so he can use that speed down the wing. And he's been very effective for us. He's better than the sum of his parts, I guess, is what you can say. Up top, we have the same striker combination, and we're hoping for the same, if not better, results. Jackson Amel, you should know him by now. 26-year-old Canadian, valued at $1.5 million. He's on a rotational contract, so theoretically we could improve on this, but I don't know. I mean, maybe, but probably not. Anyway, he's 6'1". He's a beast physically. Got 13 strength, 15 jumping reach, 15 fitness, 14 acceleration. Very good. Mentally, he's not that strong, but he does have nice work rate. He's got a little bit of bravery and aggression and a little bit of composure. Technically, he's pretty good. 13 penalty taking is good. 14 heading is how he scores most of his goals. He's got some first touch, some finishing, some dribbling. So he's just an all-around solid target man. And, of course, his partner in crime, Kyle Larin, the big man, the guy we spent 2 years ago, we spent the entire season chasing this guy in the transfer market. Finally got it done. He had a very good season last year, 24 years old, only on a $600,000 contract, so he's not making that much money. But physically, he's a beast. 16 strength, 15 jumping reach, 15 pace, 6'2". So he's a big guy and fast, which is a good combination. Mentally, he's pretty solid, not spectacular, but solid. And then technically is where he shines. 14 technique, 16 finishing. He's got a little bit of dribbling and heading and long shooting, so he can score in a lot of different ways. And there you go. There's our starting lineup. A little bit more of an in-depth look at our boys before we head into Champions League. We got some guys lacking match sharpness. You selected 4 substitutes outside the match squad. Okay. Okay, so we don't need Putna. Don't need Chevalier. Don't need Giglio. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I'm pretty sure I had these guys set up anyway. We got Dupuis as a striker. We got Edwards as can play right or left wing. We got Lopez midfield. Sweet midfield. Pujol can play left or right defense. Boxall can play right defense or central defense, and Crepeau in goal. All right, so we got everybody all lined up. Squad numbers have to be given. Okay, that's fine. Sweat would prefer number 17. It's not available, so how about number 27? Let's go. Champions League. Here we are. We get a home game for the first leg of the North American Champions League, and it is what we expected. They're going 4-1-4-1. They did move Zardes up top, though, so we got to watch for that. They moved Filipovic up to defensive midfielder. They brought in their new man, Felcher, that they picked up. So he's a good player. We looked at him a little bit. So that's an upgrade, I think, for them. And they brought in Will Trapp, their captain, in the midfield. That's okay. Chicana on the left-hand side. So they've changed up their lineup from what we saw. So that's no problems. We're okay. We're familiar with these guys. Oops, hand over to the assistant, I guess. That's no problem. Good team talk. Good team talk for your first game of the Champions League. And we definitely got to watch out for Zardes. We got to watch out for Chicana. He's played well against us in the past. And Pedro Santos, might as well watch him. Anybody else? I don't think so. Let's go. Let's go to the tunnel, boys. Here we go. Jeremy Lanny from the Montreal, Quebec City Soccer Post approaches you in the tunnel. You chosen to leave Romero out of your starting 11. With his place going to somebody else, are you therefore not quite interested in this competition? What are you talking about, dude? It's Champions League. I've got a good squad available to me and believe this is blah, 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 blah. It's not the best weather. Yeah, it's like 27 and snowing, so this is no good to be playing Champions League at this time of year. But anyway, will the conditions affect your opponents? No, my players can adapt. Whatever. Jeremy, with all the questions here, are you going to change your training methods in response to Victor Cabrera? Cabrera's been injured for most of the offseason. He doesn't really like the high-tempo training we're doing, so we're going to ease off on Victor's vector. So yes, I will look into it, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, you can make a real statement. Are you going to go on the attack? Yes, we will. So get out of here and let us do it. So here we go, Saputo Stadium. Nice crowd for the first round of the Champions League. A lot of times if you play a smaller team, maybe not as many people show up, especially when it's 27 and snowing. But we got Columbus. They're a divisional rival. And the people have shown up for Champions League. Petrasso heads it in. Oh, fell short. Boy, that was almost a disaster. Columbus might not be match fit. We might have a definite advantage on them there. Kyle Aaron gets the throw in. Drops it to Petrasso, who is on the wrong side of the field. Andre to Piet with a shot. Nope. Not on target. All right, boys. Good first 2 minutes. Here we go. Petrasso with a steal. Gets it forward. Jackson Amell playing that target man role. The playmaking target man. Petrasso, Andre, forward to Kyle Aaron. He's got Mane on the outside. He gets it out wide to him. He has to go get it. He sends it back inside. Jackson Amell can't win the header, but Piet is there. Gets it forward to Petrasso, who looked offside. The crowd goes deathly quiet. Crowd goes deathly quiet. No. These crowd noises are messing with me. It's not offside. It's just a tremendous shot by Petrasso. Just one times it, bang. Top corner. There's the crowd. There's the crowd. They looked up at the replay on the Jumbotron, and then they started cheering. Thankfully. That was quick and easy. 1-goal lead, 8 minutes in. So hopefully Columbus is lacking sharpness, and they're just going to not be prepared for how prepared we are. Jackson Amell doesn't win the header, but Piet gets it forward. Kyle Aaron's found some space. He's beat 2 defenders, but Zach Steffen is there. He's a good goalkeeper, no doubt about that. He gets better year after year. So if you take an MLS team, you might want to try to get your hands on Zach Steffen, because he's a good young goalkeeper who does get better over the seasons. Here's Taylor with the throw into Jackson. Gets it to Petrasso, looking to add to his tally. Kyle Aaron with the header. Over the goal, but, we're getting all the highlights. Here's Piet. Do I want Piet taking free kicks? I don't know. Something I mentioned in the last episode is our special teams are a little down this year. Here's Jackson Amell on the run. He's got Kyle Aaron out front. That is not a great cross. Kyle Aaron to Mane. He tries to shoot at Piet on frame this time. I want to make a bit of a change. I want to do whipped crosses. There we go. Petrasso almost gets it to Bruno. Bruno made the run for it. Andre can't beat Chicana, and here comes Columbus on sort of a counterattack, I guess. If you can call this a counterattack. Zardes slows it up for Santos. Will trap. They're slow playing it for sure. Trap Artur. Filipovic. Let's see what they can do with this, if anything. They got our 2 midfielders running around like crazy. Santos. Bruno, I think, knocked that out. Zardes almost got to that, and that was almost a goal. So we can't take these for granted. Santos now sends one in. Jaguar heads it out. Andre is there. Let's start the counterattack, boys. Gets it forward. Jackson Amell. He's got all kinds of space. He's got Andre running down the middle of the field. He's got Mane on the outside. He crosses back to Jackson. Come on now. A little bit too unselfish there. Taylor sends it in for Kyle Aaron. Not a great header, but Steffen sort of awkwardly dives for it. So that was not the greatest counterattack I've ever seen. I think he should have dropped it off to Andre. But anyway, whoa, what was that kick from Santos? A little cheeky side kick of some sort. Anyway, 30 minutes down. We got the goal lead. This is fine. This is dandy. Watching FC Dallas right now play against Philadelphia in the rain. Filipovic is injured. They've had to bring in Richmond for the Columbus crew. Here we go. Highlight. Andre gets it forward to Kyle Aaron. Defense collapses on him. He gets it wide to Mane. Centers to Andre. Forward. Tries to get it to Jackson Amell. Can't get there. Piet takes a rocket shot. I don't know if I approve of that. Probably in the second half we're going to... Our crosses aren't working. Whatever. Retain possession. Yeah. So second half we'll probably do our normal second half adjustment. We will retain possession and work the ball in the box and see if that gets us any different results. Because it seems like Columbus is backing way off. I mean, they're in a very defensive setup to begin with. But on the other hand, we could switch to a defensive setup and just play counterattack with them. But I don't know that I want to do that either. All right. Halftime tactics. We're up 1-0. It's fine. But we're going to do our adjustments. Retain possession. Work the ball in the box. I don't want any more of those wild shots from Piet. I mean, Piet is okay, I think. No, he's not okay. He's 10 long shots. So we don't really want Piet taking long shots. He's a ball. I don't know. I don't know why he's taking long shots, but he's feeling himself, apparently. So let's go to the dressing room. Team talk. Assertive. Things are going well, but you're capable of even better. There we are. Lutweiler and Bruno are happy with that. All right, let's go, boys. 45 minutes to go. This would be a great way to end it. You know, 1-0 is perfectly fine. No away goals for Columbus is how we want to start things. Oh, almost a steal. Sort of a sneaky, lackadaisical steal. That was a terrible pass, and Andre intercepts it easily. Here we go. Zach Steffen's going to boot one. He does. He fires it way downfield. Giazzi Zardes underneath it. Nobody with him, though. He's all by himself. It's him versus our entire defense. Just sort of ping-ponging it back and forth at the moment. Again, Zardes all by himself. Finally finds Chicana. Will Trapp getting forward a little bit. Takes a shot. I don't know how Columbus is going to score unless it's on some sort of special teams play. Here's Felcher with a throw in to Trapp. P. Santos, not Dos Santos, thankfully. Jaguar wins it, gets it forward to Kyle Larin. He's all by his lonesome. But he gets Jackson Amell. There's Piet rushing forward. That was an awful pass, but it gets to Piet. He breaks down the defense. What has possessed Piet? He is a man on a mission right now. I've never seen him this aggressive offensively. There's a corner from Petrasso to nobody. Piet has it again. I'm surprised he didn't shoot. What was that? Was that offside? That was probably offside by Bruno, of all people. How are we looking ratings-wise? Pretty average, except for Petrasso with an 8.2. Everybody else is just sort of okay. Here's Petrasso on the free kick to Larin. Larin drops it all the way back to Taylor, who just pops it right back to Larin. Jaguar, Andre forward to Mane, off seed. Yes. Oof seed for Mane. All right. Let's go, boys. 56 minutes. So far, we got nothing too much to complain about. I'd like to get that second goal. But even without the second goal, we're doing okay. Oh boy, Zach Steffen almost has a bad back pass, but he boots it out of there. Piet intercepts out wide to Petrasso. He's double covered. Piet centers to Andre. Andre gets it forward. Jackson Amell. He's got two men rushing in. There's Kyle Larin. Oh man. Let's give him an old concentrate here, boys. Let's get that second goal. 68 minutes. It's rolling up on the 70-minute mark. How are we looking? We're still looking pretty good. Piet, Andre. So you may have wondered why I didn't put any of my new signees in the game. Or even on the bench. it's because the way the Champions League times out, or the way the schedule is, we have to register for Champions League before the MLS transfer window opens. The international transfer window opens. So none of our international transfers are eligible for Champions League. I don't know if that's a purposeful change or if it's just a quirk of the schedule. In previous seasons, that wasn't the case, because one of my tactics was that if I made Champions League, I would then go out in the offseason, sign some big high-profile guys, then they'd be able to play for the Champions League. But now I can't do that. So you only have the team that you've got at the end of the season, plus your draft picks and whatever domestic transfers you make. So there's no more going out and getting a big hired gun to get in Champions League. Here's Kyle Aaron, crosses it all the way to Petrasso. He's stopped, but he gets the rebound. There he is. The young Canadian winger. We need him to have a big season. He's off to a good start in Champions League. Kyle Aaron gets forward. Oh, you thought he was going to give it to the target man, Jackson Amell, but he did not. That was sneaky. Petrasso finishes it off. Good man. So Piet and Andre are looking a little tired in the midfield, but I think we'll leave them be. No need to mess things up in the 87th minute. Got a full week until we need to play another game. But, the thing is, you get into Champions League and you're like, all right, I'm going to play, some exotic team from some other nation. And then you're stuck with the Columbus Crew, who are possibly, the most MLS of all MLS teams. It's like it doesn't get any more just sort of middle American, conservative, fiscally, and, on the field than Columbus Crew. So I am a little disappointed that we're playing Columbus in the first round. I would have liked to play somebody like Defense Force or who knows. Just about anybody else other than Columbus, honestly. Even a Western Conference team. Give me a Western Conference team. Give me Seattle or Portland or something. But anyway, we're looking good. 91 minutes, 2 minutes of stoppage time. Mane is just sort of wasting time. Sends one to Zach Steffen, who's halfway out of bounds. Okay, he's in. And there we go. So, outstanding first leg, first victory in the Champions League. And yeah, we can't ask for much more than a 2-0 home shutout. I mean, it's a really great way to start the season. Petrasso killed it, 9.3 rating, 2 goals. Player of the match. Piet with an assist. He got his own assist on the second goal off the rebound. Jaguar played well. Taylor played well. Piet, Andre, Mane. So we had a lot of really good players, really good performances. Columbus not so much. Will Trapp played well in the midfield. Other than that, nobody else played particularly well or particularly poorly. I mean, I guess Felcher and Martinez didn't play too good, but no horrific performances from Columbus. They just weren't any good on this day. I think maybe they're a little lacking some match fitness, so we might have that advantage against them. So there we go. Pep talk. Be passionate. Happy with the result. Let's go. Leave the match. Okay, so we've got a friendly versus Ottawa, which we're not going to show you. We got our MLS registration coming up, which we'll get to that eventually. But I guess we'll come back next episode for the second leg of the North American Champions League. So, until then, we shall see you later. Bye-bye.